Ben Nelson, I've known you quite a while now, about 2.5 years. So I know that you're not the patient type. I also know that you're the kind of person to go to NIPW management and get some changes made. So now, what was meant to be a one-time only championship match on June 1st has just become a best-of-3 series. Well, Ben, I understand it. You're passionate. You have so much heart. I respect you for that. But over a year ago today, me and you faced. I won. I beat you. I had your number. What makes you think the result will be any different this Saturday? Because nothing's changed, Ben. You're the same old kid just riding on his big brother's coattails for success. And it's disappointing, Ben. You have so much potential, but you hold yourself back with an unhealthy mindset. You don't deserve the title match in June, Ben. And I'm going to make you very aware of that. The truth will be revealed this Saturday. If you can't beat me this Saturday, I can assure you, you will not beat me on June 1st in Malone. So Ben, let's end this best-of-3 series real quick, and I'll prove to you, you don't have what it takes. You're not championship material, and you're not the material to beat the heart and soul of NIPW, Ben. See you Saturday.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Thursday night. And here I am, your host, the brainchild of the NWF, Dixie Dave. And I guess we'll put up with this guy over here.
Yeah, this guy over here that held that NWF belt 5 times, and yourself and Canary Kid like to say, disrespecting the title 5 times or whatever he said the other week on NWF Forward. The kid's jealous. He's jealous of the 5er. He's trying to get his drop kick as good as mine, and he's not quite there yet. He's working on it, though. I'll say that. What can you say?
Crusher, I think what it is you're jealous that the title is going back into rotation and you're not challenging for it anymore. You're too old.
Oh, no. I don't see it that way. I'm going to ref the damn thing. What are you talking about? I'm refereeing the damn thing. And I'll tell you right now, if Canary Kid gets out of line in that match and he breaks any rules and stuff, I will disqualify his rear end. So he just better be on his best behavior in that match. That's all I got to say.
Well, Crusher.
Tell you that. I'm jealous. I can't believe you even said that.
Well,
I got to crack open my Diet Dr. Pepper here and get my throat quenched after you got me all riled up.
It's just a simple fact. You'll never hold that title again.
I would. Look, I've challenged Canary Kid multiple times. He's afraid to get in the ring with me. I can't force him in, so what can you do? But I'll tell you this, Dave. I will.
Okay, the reason he doesn't want to get in the ring with you is he's afraid of being arrested over there in Ireland for abusing a senior citizen.
Is that really the reason? Do you really think that's the reason? That's just an excuse this kid's using. But you know what? I want to say this. Our era is past. Even though I could go in there and kick his ass, our era is past. This is about the new generation, the new era of wrestling. So for Canary Kid and Ben Nelson, it makes it very appropriate that those two fight for the belt. So it's going to be a great title match coming up in June. You know, they're doing a best of 3 series now, as you see. The first match coming up this Saturday at Breakout in Northern Ireland.
Okay, they're doing a best of 3 series. Now, is it a best of 3 series for the belt?
Yeah, so technically, you know, if Canary happens to win both of them, instead of guest reffing on June 1st, I'll be presenting him the belt.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that could happen. But you know what? You know, got to remember, Ben Nelson's no pushover. And
Well,
I don't know if he's going to be able to
I'm
do a
freely
sweep.
admitting I don't know Ben Nelson. And I've only seen video of Canary on occasion. I mean, you know that he and I'd have good chemistry together, so you never allow us on the same screen.
Oh, no. You know, but first of all, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Canary Kid doesn't know the history of the NWF, so he doesn't know what he's talking about. He thinks Dixie Dave's a big pillar in the league history. Dave,
Well,
you didn't even held the belt. You never held the damn belt.
hey,
World title, that is.
you know, it's hard to hold the title when the promoters are holding you down.
You know, here we go again with the sour excuses. You know, it's no wonder you and Canary get along so well. And it's no wonder that Ben and I get along so well, because Ben respects me, as he should. And
Well, Ben's
yeah,
just
there's
trying
that.
to brown nose the referees so he can try and get the win.
Well, Dave, let's talk about the show today. We got some comments coming in too. But yeah,
Yep.
let's talk about the show today. We got Group W Cable Studios, show 28, the early days, 1984. I don't like watching this.
Cringe over.
Yeah, I mean it's rough. It's rough for me because I wish I could go back and do things differently. You know, just in little things. You know, but we can't
Well,
change the past.
Okay, cutting the heel stuff. If it wasn't for these early days, you wouldn't have the great days that I was a part of.
By the way, Dave, I want to get these comments in. Your daughter Angie's watching. She says
Yep.
hi. So just so you see that.
Hello,
And
sweetie.
and Wayne, I wanted to talk to Wayne. So it's pro wrestling. Of course, it will go with 3 matches. Well, you know, we'll see. I am flying all the way out there. I hope I can guest ref, but otherwise, I'm gonna have to just present him the belt. Which, you know, if maybe Ben will sweep it too. You know, this could go either way. So who knows what the hell's gonna happen? We'll see. But yeah, Wayne, I was saying, I'm sure you've seen the short. I think you did. But I was got to thinking, you know, Wayne was. So Dave, you know, as we talked about, Wayne was at the October 18th sellout card, right?
Right.
And I always wondered, did Wayne know back in the day when he went to that show that the league was run by me at 16, or did he think, yes, we're all kids and stuff, but there must be adults running the show? You know, because unless you read the newspaper articles and stuff, you really didn't know. You know,
Right.
we didn't go on at the beginning of the show and say, I'm your producer and I'm the one that creates this whole thing. You know, we never did that. So I'm just kind of curious if he realized it or not. I was just curious is all, because it's not often we can find people that were at that show 40 years ago. I mean, yeah, it was 450 people there, but just people of the community, and not that I knew everybody. So, let's see. Wayne's responding to that. Yeah, let's see what he says. He says,
the only show that you put me on, and the only sellout we had there.
Wayne said, I saw the short. I'm guessing that I knew you were the one running the NWF. I don't know, but did you though, Wayne? Like, I know you know that now because you read the book and everything, but I wonder if you knew it then. You know, I guess it's hard to know that for sure. You know, really, like that's a long time ago. So how do you know? But yeah, it's an interesting thing, because I think a lot of the people in that crowd maybe didn't realize it, and you know, and that was quite an accomplishment. You know, 450 people.
Yep.
Sold out. Not that because Dixie Dave was part of it. It wasn't that. It was because Crusher Crossen had against Mr. Macho for the U.S. title and the world title against each other. And
Okay, you keep saying that, but Crusher, you were a part of every one of the Armory shows.
Yeah.
and a few of them flopped with you as the
Well,
headliner.
if you count 50 people flopping, I don't know if that's necessarily a flop. And what about the Brooklyn Park show that you were a part of?
In an area where people weren't real familiar with us.
Yeah, so it's when it's gonna be Dixie. I love how Dixie Dave wants to take all the credit when it's a sellout when he's a part of it, but then when there's like only 50 people or whatever we had at Brooklyn Park, then it's all of
Well,
a sudden
there were a lot of people in Brooklyn Park to drag them in.
Yeah, we talked about Brooklyn Park. There was issues just in advertising for that thing because where do you hang posters? There's no downtown. Yeah, Brooklyn Park was a tough deal. But anyways, Group W Cable Studios, Dave, this isn't going to be textbook professional wrestling by any means, what we're going to be seeing here. Really just us kids with the passion and the heart and having a lot of fun.
I think that's why our viewers enjoy the early stuff, because it shows that we had the heart, the passion.
Right. That's really what it is. And let's see what Wayne's saying here. He had another comment. I don't know. Sky Sports and the crew, I think they must be doing playoffs again. I don't see Sky Sports guys. It was not because of Dixie Dave. I had no idea who Dixie Dave was before going to that event. There you go. Wayne Wayne's like Crusher. He tells it like it is. He's a straight shooter, by the way. He just tells it like it is.
Minority who didn't know who I was. I mean, come on.
Well,
facts are facts, Crusher.
But Dave, before we had a long show though, so before you get that, we'll talk about that once the show starts on. But there is something I do want to mention here right away. I'm going to mention it at the end, but guys, you definitely want to tune in next week on Forward on Friday because we've got some special guests coming in here. Ace Andrew Carlson, Kid Kelsey to join me. Ben Nelson will be coming in as well. The old champs and the soon to be one of these two future champs of the NWF belt. And I think that'll be an awesome show. We're just going to talk, there won't be any watch long or anything. We're just going to chit chat. But for these guys to, for the old champs, like, Ace and Kelsey and myself, to be able to talk to these two young guys, especially Kelsey and Ace. I mean, I've talked to these guys enough, but for Ace and Kelsey, this will be very interesting. All three of us have held the nice blue belt that we're going to be having up for grabs here. So, of course, we're missing somebody here, Dave. There was one other person that held the blue belt.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut on this. You and I have talked about this off air.
Yeah, I just can't
keep my mouth shut for a change.
I just can't get confirmation from Steve Engstrom, aka Mr. X. So I don't know, maybe he's busy or whatever, but I'd like to have him in this group too. But it'll be the three of us, so it'll still be a good show. This will be an awesome show. So let's tune in next Friday, and it's going to be a little different time. It's not the normal time we go with Ricky. It's going to be an hour later, so it's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern. Or 6 p.m. Eastern, I'm sorry, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Ireland time, because these guys have schedules that's how it could work for them. So we had to go a little bit later, but that'll be a fun show. We'll talk about that at the end as well. But that's going to be a very cool show. I'm very looking forward to that, to having those guys.
Before we get too far into it, what do we got coming up on the Video Network?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Let's we're gonna run this quick promo, and then when we get out of this, then Dave and I will start the show up, the 28 watch along. But yeah, this is what's coming up on the Video Network on, I guess, May 1st. Look for this one to come up May 1st. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, a kick? What is this? Some type of an arm lock? Rock and runabout. What if I'm...
Oh, look at that body slam. Amazing.
There he is, American Sergeant Smash.
Come here.
Personally. This guy from White Bear Lake, pretty much fit. Can't seem to handle it though. This guy is looks like he's been wrestling alligators, and he belts the ref one. Before.
I
what's he gonna do? Off the second rope.
Old Super D's in it. Looks like they're going for the double clothesline, double drop kick. So another body slam coming up here. Oh.
Step aside because I'm getting sick and tired of this 2 times in a row and I don't like it.
Back on the ropes, leg drop, right on top of the head. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We're here with Corporal Crossen. Whip him against the rope, come over. Oh, clothesline, and 7 o'clock. And don't forget, once each month.
Crossen in the martial arts. Yes. I do understand he is.
On the top rope.
On the top rope. No. Takes him down. He'll get down with that. Oh, drop kick. Gosh, it's about time that.
Oh, we're into the first minute. We are watching the best of the kids' professional wrestling. The
May 1st. Studio taping
Yep.
58 from Fred Moore, Junior High, and Dave just watching all the bumping going on that boxing ring. Yeah, that mat had absolutely no give whatsoever. It was on concrete.
Exactly.
It was, that was rough. That was a rough one. And this stage we're going to watch here on the show now coming up, Group W Cable, that wasn't any fun either. But the difference between Fred Moore Junior High, what we just seen in that preview, and what we're going to watch today, we're still way early in our wrestling development here. I mean, we're not taking the massive bumps like we were in Fred Moore, you know, doing more of the suplexes and body slams as you've seen, and not always picture perfect, of course. We're still learning back in those days in Fred Moore, but you know, a little bit more advanced than we are on show 28 today that we're going to watch. So let's get this thing going here, and we'll start, you know, we'll keep chatting with everybody, with Wayne and everybody. So let's get the show on the road, Dave. Start this one up. This one's normally the shows go 60 minutes or whatever, but this one actually goes a little longer than 60. This was one of those shows that actually went longer.
You slipped past Old Man Johnson.
Yeah. And guys, or Wayne, since you're there talking with us for sure, let me know if the audio needs to be louder on the show when we get going into it, if it's not loud enough. Because I don't know. I can never tell in my headset. So I want to make sure our show audio, you know, that we're watching is at least a little bit loud enough so you can kind of hear what they're saying.
throughout 20
Because sometimes I have it too quiet. Because to me it sounds just fine, but maybe it needs to be louder. I don't know.
Well, you must have your hearing aids in and turned way up.
Yeah.
Rights of the IWA, International Wrestling Association.
Okay, Wayne says the audio's fine. All right, good. Good. W cable. Yeah, this YouTube counter's it never works right. I should just take that out of there. That counter is not accurate. Oh.
Store cable and UC video.
Store cable. That was Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center Market. UC Video handled Minneapolis and St. Paul markets. Rogers Cable System that they mentioned earlier, that would have been down in the southern part of the metro. Edina, Richfield. Yeah, we used to like to do these little text newsflash things in these days, kind of just give a summary of like what's going on in the show. So here's where we talked about certain copyright laws. The TWA, Twin Cities Wrestling Station, will change its name to the TWF, Twin Cities Wrestling Federation. That was because World Airlines had to Group WK them for us not to use TWA. You know, they were kind of sticklers because that was their trademark. So it wasn't like any kind of like a cease and desist or some legal letter from it. It was just a simple phone call to the studio from somebody over at TWA, because I think they were based. I want to say TWA was based, or they had a hub in Minneapolis, so they had a presence there in the metro. And yeah, they just asked us to change it, so we just changed it to TWF. And eventually, NWF would get formed here in early 1985. I think January of '85 is when we changed it to NWF. Right now, we're, I think, in November of '84 for this show.
So we're not even a year into the NWF life.
No, we're
Welcome back to
maybe
the
8 or 9 months.
TWF, the new name of the TWA. Because of Trans World Airlines, we've had some copyright, some law came out, so we had to change to the TWA.
Some law, yeah, trademark.
Same name, just instead of association, federation. And today, we will be having great matches.
That's Marty Bradoff, the referee. He was Bruiser Bradoff when he wrestled, but
revenge match around.
he was one of the regulars back in these Group W cable days.
Sean
Right.
Crossen versus Brian Piledriver Peterson.
And Brian Peterson, still new. He had just joined the
That
show
will be
2 shows ago or so.
around the ring, but those two,
Yeah.
if one tries to escape, all the wrestlers push
The
them
video
back
just
in.
got a little messed up right
And
here,
now
guys.
with an
It'll clear up here in a
exclusive
minute.
interview.
It's kind of
Take it
wonky
away,
there.
Ray.
Okay, hello folks. Thank you, Mike. We're here with an exclusive TWF interview. This is the Twin Cities Wrestling Federation now. We're interviewing Crusher Crossen. Crusher, this is show 28. You've got
Yeah,
a
it's
big
the old
match.
belt, the TWA
Let me
belt.
take the mic, Ray. I have name confusions today.
He's supposed to be Ray Johnson,
You've
not Rob
seen
Jacob.
As well as I did last show, how that jealous
would be his
weasel
wrestler name.
Jacob went down right there in the ring. In fact, I went through my Superfly, and the weasel weaseled out of it like some skunk. And now this Peterson's getting on my back. He wants this Lumbro-Gaddick match of some sort. I don't know
Listen
what
to my
it's called.
voice. It's like about
And all I know
4
is that
octaves
we're
higher.
brainstorming. I'm going to take him over the top.
You can tell this is
rope,
early
slam him
stuff,
on this
Dave.
table. As far as how big he is,
Oh,
he'll
yeah.
break both legs, all the 4 legs on the thing.
That's a lumberjack match, if I get your words straight here. And, okay, well, I'd just like to ask you this. I'm sure all your fans are very curious to know, what's it like being champion? What's daily life like now?
Rob, as you very well know, I'm 3-time champion in a row here at the TWA. Not
They
in a
still
row,
called him
3-time
Rob.
champion. I've been champion 3 different times at 3 different areas. So TWF, take that back. This belt is a little old. It says TWA. Big deal. It's really great being a champion. And let me tell you, very busy, but okay, I'll tell you one thing. And I'll promise this to every man in the world. I'm never going to lose this belt to you, to the jealous Jacob Weasel.
I can't
Or that
keep
Peterson.
straight that I'm not.
Never.
I'm
I
not
don't
talking to
care.
Jackknife Jake. I'm talking to
He'll
Ray
never,
Johnson.
Never, I'll lose it to them. There's no way I'll.
Okay, we'll be right back in a moment, but a lumberjack match is where the rest.
Yeah, that was the first lumberjack match we ever did.
You throw them back in, and it's a non-title match, so you don't have to worry about losing your belt. Okay, we'll be right back with some great wrestling action in a moment.
Hello, folks. The next TWF match.
So yeah, we always tape these shows, Dave, as they would air. So like,
Okay, this is gonna
it's
be
all, that was all. This has all been
Ripley
nonstop
weighing in
recording so far.
185 pounds
Yep.
versus John Fabulous.
That's how we did it in
Fritz,
these days.
weighing it at
As right around now when I started getting the crew as well. So I have like public access volunteers as my crew members, and I started getting the regular crew. This is where Greg Bushman, Scott Dotzler in these days started coming in. Pat and Mike Hobbit.
I think he's a pretty good wrestler.
Chad Jones was usually our audio
He might
guy.
have a chance of beating me.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so we started getting like a regular crew in the control room.
okay. Let's start the
And for
match.
cameras, we would generally operate the cameras. So, but I'd have that crew in the control room, so that way I could just concentrate on the show. Otherwise, it used to be me and Mike and everything running back and forth trying to do all of it. That wasn't easy.
Yeah, because by now, luxury lane's out of the picture, and
Okay,
Right.
folks, we're back here. This is Ray
And remember, we
Johnson.
only had a 3-hour block in the studio, so we had to get all this done in 3 hours time. That includes setting the ring up and tearing it down. Or, well, what looks like a ring. I shouldn't say ring
Nothing
because it's
short
not
of
a ring.
enormous.
But it looks like
But,
one. As Wayne would say, it's not a ring.
wrestler, and I'm
He's such
sure
a
he'll
stickler
make
with the
good,
backyard talk with us.
But I would not be
But
surprised to
Wayne, I
see
got to give you crap
Lady
on
the
that. You know
Ripper
that.
win.
well, it's what we had
He
access
is
to
young
at the
Yeah.
in the TWF, but he has wrestled very little. And,
But,
Rich Taylor could not be here
You know,
today.
for us, so it was huge because before we got the posts and the ropes, all it was just the stage. And so when we got what looked like a ring, that was a big deal for us.
Complained,
You know?
and he has been suspended 1 show plus fine.
I like Wayne's comment here. He says, this match is like the Big Show versus Rey Mysterio because of the size difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with a little bit of growing up,
You know, our lightweight division was very limited in these days. You know, John Fritz, who was the kid in the red shorts, that was my cousin. Furious Fritz or John Fritz, he was one of them, and then Dynamite Dude, of course, was one of our other lightweights, and that's all we really had in the beginning. There wasn't a whole lot of lightweights. Eventually Rough Ryan would come along, and the Super Ds. But that would be another, 2 or 3 shows from now. So.
You can do it, Andy. Okay, picks him up. And Marty Bradhoff, the referee.
But even back in these days when we didn't know what we were doing, we still tried to do holds and such. Like you can see, they're trying to work holds, arm holds and stuff like that. We're trying to, and this is what we're, kind of influenced by in these days. This is what we watched on All Star Wrestling. We'd see matches and we try to emulate what we see as best we could. And I stress as best we could.
Right.
In these early days. I mean, we got better, of course, as years went on, but in these early days, man, it is rough around the edges. Make no mistake.
8 minutes into the match.
Wayne says, as far as the ring goes, I think he did a good job with this ring. Yeah, I mean, it looks like one. It's a rectangle, which kind of sucks. I wish it was more of a square, but that's just my perfection way of thinking, 20, 40 years later. But I never did like the rectangle part. I'll tell you something, though. When Crossen booted us out, when Crossen got rid of this stage to get us out of the studio, that was the best thing that happened to the league, Dave. You know why?
Because then it gave us freedom to do what we wanted.
Right, because we went to the garage where we were completely in control and we could really grow. We could really grow. I mean, grow as in not only with the show, but with the wrestling, with everything, because we weren't under anybody else's rules. We could get as loud as we wanted. Yeah, it's pretty cool that way.
Had the name first since we are fairly new.
And banging your head on that stage, that actually hurt. I mean, this is a hardwood stage. There's absolutely no give to it.
2 minutes left in the match.
TWF Twin Cities Wrestling Federation, and we expect that'll be our permanent name.
And it didn't end up being the permanent name.
No, the name always had to represent what we were doing, and in these days we were only in the metro, all the suburbs and stuff. So it was Twin Cities made sense. But when we started going national with the show, syndicating to all the other cable companies and stuff around the country, it only made sense to change it to national, the National Wrestling Federation.
Got the angle because Peterson was getting in the way.
Yeah.
John Fritz wins the match. Or Andy the Ripper.
Rob called it wrong. There's Peterson coming in.
9 minutes and 50 seconds.
I always liked Brian. Brian always looked the part. He had the bow tie and the nice shirt. He always would dress he was really big on his character's image in these days. He always wore that. He had that look. And it always take him forever to get the bow tie off, to get the shirt off, to get, before he starts wrestling. It's kind of funny.
Well, they didn't have the tearaway pants and break tie at that point in time.
No.
This is Ray Johnson reporting for this short moment of.
So like I said, this is an actual live pause. We really don't stop recording when we're in the studio. You can't when you're doing a show like this. Because it takes us about an hour to set up and a little under an hour maybe to tear down. So you only have about an hour to get your show in. So there's no time to start and stop recording. You got to just start recording and end when you're done.
Yep.
That was nice about the garage, because when we did the garage, we didn't have a block that we had to stick with. We could just do a Saturday morning and whip out a month's worth of shows at one garage taping. We're all kids. We can handle wrestling 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it'd probably kill us to do one match.
Talking more about that in the months to come. In other news, Pressure Crossen.
I know the fans love watching this early stuff, and I get it. They like seeing, and like my friend Nathan Hoy said over there in Northern Ireland Professional Wrestling, they probably like seeing the progression. I think you said it too, Dave.
Yep.
To see where you guys were and how you started, to see and knowing how you ended up. It's kind of a cool transformation. So I get it. I get that, I guess.
With a 2-week period of absence on account of what Jackknife did to Merciless Mike. It's been about 3 weeks now.
That's just some kind of a little promo for the.
There won't be a referee.
Yeah, these we just always put our numbers up. This is how we got some of our wrestlers. And otherwise, people would call these and just ask about, you know, we get match requests every now and then on this as well. People would request certain matchups that followed the, you know, watch the show regularly. Usually kids, usually little kids.
Excuse me. And it's going to be a great one. It's going to have Crusher Crossen versus Todd Killer Campa. It
Just
should
remember
be a
him
great
from
one.
what
That's an old rivalry there.
you can tell when the
And
little
it should
kids
be
call
one of
in.
your better matches. And it's a title match. I'd like to add that. This is Crusher Crossen's title match for today. Brian Peterson will be the but first I'd like to ask you a question. Where's Jackknife Jacob right now?
I don't know where he is. He's not weaseling out of this thing today. We're gonna kick those guys. And let me tell you this so-called Crusher thinks he's gonna beat me in this lumberjack match.
Well, it should be a good one. This is the first time
it
we've
should
ever
be.
had one. Okay.
Brian was such a mouth,
Waiting your
man.
rival. Okay, Brian
He would
Peterson,
get at you
obviously
so
very
mad on the things he'd
optimistic
say
of
about
his
you, though.
chances
Get under
of
your
victory
skin.
in the lumberjack match.
Yeah.
So, a
You know,
lumberjack
we're all
match, the
kids,
refs
so
circle
yeah,
the
sometimes
ring.
you get offended by
Wrestlers,
what,
if they get thrown
you know,
out,
what they're
the
saying.
refs are circling the ring, throw them back in.
You know?
We're waiting to rival Crusher Crossen in the ring right now. There's also no referee.
Very
in the
awkward, Peterson getting out of the
lumberjack
ring.
match.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, what's Wayne saying?
We're waiting
We
the
have some
arrival
questions
of
we can
Crusher
ask,
Crossen. Here he comes
answer. It's
right
always
now.
good to get questions.
He is coming
Were there
in.
benefits
Brian
for
Peterson.
you and the TWF with doing these Group W cable
And this should
studio
be a great
tapings?
show
Did it
today.
help you in any way, and
Crossen, what
did
do you
you
have to
learn
say?
from it?
Let me tell you, Ray,
No, I mean,
I know I'm the champion. Everybody knows that.
Well, you got to
Merciless
think
is
about a
tag
Crusher.
team champ. These
trying to
Peterson
think how to
punks gonna
answer
try to
this.
get it. Hey, I know. I'll be in
It
the corner to make sure no.
got you into video editing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
let me tell you.
I really, all of us in this day and
He didn't
age,
deserve the belt.
remember, guys,
But let's
the
get
internet,
started. I'm
non-existent.
Okay.
YouTube,
Thank you. And
social
we're gonna
media,
start
none of
the
that.
match
It's
right
not
now. It should
there.
be a great one, folks.
So the only form of entertainment you know, for us to be on cable television, you know, in our area, whatever, was so freaking cool, you know, and to be doing a wrestling show because we're all big fans, you know, so to be doing this kind of show. So the benefit is every week we get to have fun and do this and really enjoy it and stick with it every week.
Hang out with our friends.
Yeah. And, you know, just knowing it's going over cable back in a day when that's all you had. There was no satellite television or anything like that, streaming or anything like that. It was just cable. So, and it was only about 40 channels, Wayne. Do you remember those days? We had 40 channels in the Anoka area in the beginning.
That's
So,
if you were lucky.
Yeah, well, 40 plus the movie channels. So, I mean, so people would flip through the channels, right? Try to see what they wanted to watch, and a lot of times they'd come across us. And in the beginning, you know, we were on channel 3, so we were nestled right between, you know, PBS and CBS. So that's interesting. Wayne says he never had cable TV. I didn't bring the comment in yet, but I'm trying to figure out how he knew about the NWF then, if he didn't have cable, right?
Probably word of mouth.
Yeah, Wayne says I didn't have cable, but he obviously seen the show at some point, so maybe friend's house. But anyways, yeah. So. And yes, of course we learned from it. I mean, like I've said many, many times, just running the NWF, I learned a ton myself, from promoting to advertising to, you know, working with people, getting things done. As the league grew, I grew with it, you know, and learned a lot. And all of us, Dave, yourself included, we all took something away from this show at some point. You know?
Learned how to politic my way into things.
Right. And I mean, I keep saying me, but I mean all of us. We really learned a lot. And
well, you're just trying to speak for yourself. You're not trying to put words into other people's mouth.
Right. And Wayne says he watched at a friend's house, probably Peter's. I think Peter had cable.
And
Peter, of course, the Tokyo Terror.
I'm sure. that someday he will move on to bigger.
I mean, it's like me. I never had cable, but
when he's too old to be
Well,
professional
okay, so
wrestler,
Wayne's got
I'm sure
to
he'll have a
refine.
break
He's
in
refining
his,
his question.
right in
My
the
question is
normal,
specific to these studio
heavyweight
tapings, not just doing the whole
stuff.
show. So, like,
You know,
well, what we learned from these studio shows, like I said, is it was a 3-hour block. We had 3 hours to get it set up, recorded, and done.
time management.
Yeah,
okay,
so
pressure
time
Crossen in the
management,
corner.
you
He's
know,
gonna get his head rammed into the post.
and you know, continually learning from the video side of things, because we had some really
Peterson tried to
expensive
sneak a
video
shot.
equipment. We were, you know, in
Now
these days, video
threatening
it
the
was
referee.
not cheap
This is
stuff.
gonna be the pile
These
driver.
cameras were thousands of
And there
dollars that
goes-
we're using.
no, it's gonna be the
That control room,
backbreaker.
probably $10,000 for
Inverted
all that
body
stuff back
vice,
in those
call it what
days.
you will, but it is
I
still
mean,
a
and that was a lot of money
submission
back then. And here we are, a group of kids with our access to all this cool, and it was new. Cable just came into the area, so it was all brand new. It had that new car smell, kind of. You know, like when you get a new car. It's just
Yep.
cool as hell to be a part of. And
She's the referee on
so
our
yeah,
side.
you know, that's what I took
We
from
have
it
a
in these
whole
days
crop of
was
new
just
wrestlers today.
setting the
Oh,
seed
it's
for
a
what would
clothesline. Pressure
come,
Crossen
you
did
know.
not feel the effects of that at all.
And really, also what I learned from this in these days was just developing the relationships with everybody on the show. This is where I started to make, you know, lasting relationships.
Oh, he
Really
flipped
learning
onto the
how
mat
to
immediately.
communicate with them as well, running it
now he
from
has
my
his arm in
point
a
of view.
a body vice
You know.
of some type, or a
I don't know,
Yep.
Wayne. Does that answer?
arm
I don't
bar, I
know.
might
That,
call
that,
it.
that, that's
You'll teach you business management.
really time management is the biggest thing, though, because like I said, 3-hour block. And man, when we went over our block that time, and Scott Tronson came barging in and shut off the lights on us, I mean,
Merciless Mike is holding
yeah.
back.
Yeah, you had, you know, it was very seldom we could go over our time slot and get away with it, especially with Tronson around.
This match is still too far out of hand. This match must be discontinued with 5 minutes left.
What I would do in these early Group W cable days, like when we record a show like this, because like I said, we record it, we lay it out as if it's live, so we record it start to finish like that, like it's going to be aired. But I don't have the show completely transferred to VHS yet for my copy and stuff to go on the air. So what I would do is I'd have Dave Payne, who I knew, he ran Master Control. I'd come home after a Saturday in the afternoon and say, hey, Dave, can you pop in tape number 67, whatever the tape was? I want to see how it looks. So he put, you know, nothing was scheduled on accident, so he'd put it on for me, and I could kind of preview the show on a Saturday afternoon. Did that a lot. Dave was great for that. He was a great guy. He was just one of the workers down there at the cable company, but he would do it for me if I called him and asked him. What was the original name of the TWF, Dave? Do you even know?
Tri-Cities, wasn't it?
No, not quite. Wasn't Tri, it was Quad.
Okay, yeah.
There we go. The Kids Quad Cities Pro Wrestling Show. It's because it was only the 4 cities we were in the beginning. And it was always the Kids. Now, eventually I'd get away from the Kids moniker. I didn't like it. I wanted to be treated like a regular league. So we got rid of the Kids, I think, in 86. Maybe 85 even. We stopped referring to us as Kids.
Yeah, we were junior professional.
Yeah, junior or just professional wrestling. We didn't even want to say junior even after a certain point.
Brad Duble, Andy the Ripper, Furious Fritz, the Dynamite Dude, the Tonga Kid, Superfly Rich, and Mr. Wonderful Walker. Now with Ray Johnson for this week's News Flash.
Uh-oh, news flash.
Oh, Gizmo is here, guys. He just popped in. He said, Gadget Gizmo. He says, sorry, I couldn't get on my Gizmo account. Love the show so far. I hope your account's okay. I hope it didn't get hacked or anything. But, yeah, it's good to see you, Gizmo. I know you guys have been busy with Sky Sports stuff, so it's nice to see they're popping in live with us, though. We're watching an early Group W cable show, and you guys love this early stuff. I know that.
He is one of the most strongest, best, most popular TWF. Let's take you to an
This is highlights here from the show 23. We had watched this a while back. This newsflash segment. I hated my promos. Absolutely hated them. Ricky, that's one thing I will say about Canary Kid. He can cut a promo 10 times better than I ever could.
Yeah.
He's
My
got
God,
the,
you're
he's got
actually
the gift.
giving Ricky credit for something.
Oh yeah, I'll give him credit for that. He's got a mouth on him.
Well,
He can
folks,
talk.
Until next week, this is Ray Johnson reporting for none other than Incredible Crusher Crossen.
The Incredible Crusher Crossen. Where do you think I got that from, Dave?
Who knows?
Oh, no clue.
This is Ray
I
Johnson
could never figure that one out.
TWF Newsflash. See you next week.
There was such a mark for Hulk Hogan. Such a mark.
Pretty boy Brian Peterson versus the Tonga boy, a new wrestler in the TWF. And here comes
So the
Pretty
Tonga boy,
Peterson. Half of take,
he's going to go against Peterson.
half of the
He's a big
fabulous
kid.
ones.
He was the cousin of Superfly Rich.
No, get
But
this.
he was
John
from
still
Coon
thinks he's gonna
Rapids.
beat me. Todd
But
Owens
he only
won.
showed up
Todd
for
won
this
by the 12
show. He never
Peterson.
came back again. But he loved it. He had a lot of fun. I don't know why he didn't come back. Maybe his travel problems. He couldn't get to the studio. I don't know what the deal was.
I don't know. He might be
Superfly Rich
Heck,
stuck
speaking
around,
up
but
the wrong tree.
I could get to the
You know,
studio,
he's
and I wasn't old enough to
trying have
drive.
more
yeah, I
experience.
know.
I know. Do you have any
You know,
comments?
Saturday mornings there'd be a lot of bicycles parked outside of Group W
I
Cable.
think the
Yeah.
Pretty Boy
that's-
Peterson, or whatever his name is, he just walks around like he's a cool dude. But he's probably just a little chicken.
Let's see. Gizmo's got a question. He says,
Bet
"At
ya.
what age did you really understand what you were doing, or what you have accomplished with the NWF?" Let me see now. At what age did you really understand what you're doing? You mean when I think what Gizmo's asking is at what age was I when I realized we created something pretty special with the league? That was something that was very unique.
Let's go, pretty boy.
You know, as much people might think I would say like when we did the Armory show or whatever, but it was before that. I would say me and Charlie felt, you know, Charlie Lane of course started the show with me. We felt in the beginning right away that we had something special going. Like we felt it immediately. And when Charlie moved away at like show number 12 or whatever, he was very adamant that I keep the show going because he could see the same thing I was seeing, that we had something really going special with this. But it was such a process. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing wrestling wise. I didn't meet Eddie Sharkey right away, so we didn't get smartened up on anything. You know, that the wrestling took a long time to develop. The point, as far as when I felt the wrestling was very presentable, like when we were on par with anything you'd see pretty much, I would say it would be after the first Armory event. That's when I felt our wrestling was now evolved to a point where it was pretty presentable.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this?
You know, I was just thinking about something, Russia.
Mhm.
Something I'm surprised we never did
Uppercut right into
is
the
after the show,
midsection.
seeing that it was right there, we never went over to Friskies.
Tonga boy
Yeah,
down.
Friskies was right down the
Elbow
street.
smash.
Yeah.
Ooh, a headbutt. Two head bunts.
But no, I mean, it's just the wrestling
Tonga boy
itself.
down. Pretty boy
It's just not polished.
seems to be
And
taking over the
you know, today, in today's day and age, technique, crispness, it's a big deal. It's a big deal in pro wrestling. Like, the people judged you, right?
Yep.
But in these days, with the old school era, it was not as judgmental as it is today.
It was, are you entertaining the crowd?
Right. And the wrestling was rough, and it was sloppy sometimes, even in the AWA. Not every match was a Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat match, you know?
No.
So,
Or Ricky Steamboat versus anybody, really.
Ric Flair versus anybody. I mean, those guys were in a different league and from everybody else. They really were. But, you know, we were entertaining enough for the era. Let's just say that. Now, other kids thought it was, you know, Either they thought you were a dork for being on the show doing this, or they thought it was funny, or they actually were entertained with it and, you know, loved watching it, you know, watching the soap opera we created every week, you know, and the different rivalries and stuff.
Drop. Oh, a flying drop kick.
Yeah, like by the way, Wayne says, when you mentioned Friskies, he said had great onion rings. Wasn't that the old A&W? Right there? Yeah, it used to be A&W. Yeah.
Yeah, it was right next door.
Yeah.
I mean, just like a line of trees dividing them.
Entering the arena.
And Damian Thorne says it's not every day that a schoolboy produces, edits, and airs a cable show. Yeah, I know. It was that in of itself was kind of a rare deal. Yeah, I agree.
Tonga Boy was tangled in the ropes there.
It's true.
What is the Jack?
By the way, when I restored this show, you guys, I had some issues. You can see how it's getting dark. See, these tapes are so old that they end up, what happens is as they degrade, they start losing the gamma.
Yeah.
So it starts, and I have to compensate for it to get it back up again. So as you see this show, as the show goes on and as the tape moves through the tape more, it's going to start getting more and more dimmer, but I try to compensate for that and bring it back, but it doesn't look as good as it did in the very beginning, though. There's nothing I can do.
Okay, I thought Jackknife was supposed to be suspended.
No. He was fined and suspended, but that happened the week before or whatever.
But I thought he was supposed to be gone for a couple weeks. And I've seen him walking around.
No, he's on this show. He actually wrestles and stuff. He's on this. I think you might have read that wrong. That news flash.
Okay. There's Crusher in the way of the camera.
Am I? Yeah, I'm just trying to build up for me and Peterson's match. I keep doing little cheap shots to Peterson in there. But yeah, like I was saying, the wrestling today with like Ricky and Ben and all the new guys and Full Tilt, all the Pure Pro, all these guys, they are, you know, crisp, they're clean, they're polished. They've got excellent training. You know, they got a lot of luxuries that we just didn't have.
Right.
In these days, and nobody would train us as kids. Are you kidding? That was non-existent. So if you're gonna do anything like this, you have to just make a go of it and figure it out yourself. But again, the wrestling, like I said, old school style wrestling from the 80s wasn't necessarily like it is today either. So
right.
This is hard. Oh, can't fit in the turnbuckle. Crusher down. Help. Ref.
Peterson.
Could you come over here?
Yeah, he's still not quite got the figure 4 figured out yet. He's still working on it, but that's what he's trying to do there. He eventually got that down pretty well.
The winner, the Tonga Boy.
There's Kid Kelsey coming in, number 74. This is the problem we had with Group W cable days. At the end of a match, it would always turn into a big skirmish. Melee, yeah. And I remember Kelsey's dad would say, you know, the show's pretty good, but you gotta get the after-match scuffles under control. Who went to Japan and brought back the PWA belt? Not Pro Wrestling America. That would be the Pacific Wrestling Association. That's what we called it. On show number 4.
There's been a lot of things going on lately to talk about. Not to mention that blonde, bleached-headed punk.
Well, I mean, he wasn't a part of it, but it would have made sense for it to be Tokyo Terror. But
no, this would be show number 4, though, so it would be early stuff.
2 out of the 3 times.
Sports Video's got a question. He says, okay, we have talked about your half shirt for a year now. Do you remember how old when you first wore that shirt and the age you last used it? Gosh. You know, I wore that half shirt back in the beginning. Like I remember on show number 7, I was wearing it because I remember I have it on in an interview for that show. So earliest show 7, I had that shirt a long time. Now, in the beginning, the shirt didn't have the Crusher and it didn't have Team USA on it. I brought it to in graphic arts class. We had a project. We had to do screen printing to shirts. So for my project, I made that shirt into the Crusher shirt as a screen printing
Welcome
project.
back to the TWF. We have a great match next.
But
Matt, Kelsey.
yeah, I had that shirt for a long time, and I wish I would have kept it. I don't know where the heck it is. It's gone, as far as I know. I don't know where it is.
Weighing in at 110 pounds, a pretty close weight advantage by Kelsey.
You can hear a song by the Cars that's been kind of muted out music-wise, so it can't get flagged for copyright, but you can still hear the lyrics of it bleeding through.
Hey, you may be his partner. It's his turn to talk. It's his turn to talk. You say,
Yeah, Peterson just can't keep his mouth shut. He's like Canary Kid. Can't keep his mouth shut.
One hand on the ground.
Okay, Merciless, I want to say something. That lumberjack match coming up pretty soon, and I'm gonna win.
Yeah, look at we get all these guys start coming in the ring. It just gets out of control. But yeah, there's that half shirt I'm wearing it now, and it doesn't say the Crusher yet either at this point in time either.
the rep, Andy
And Team USA, I haven't printed it up yet.
Pretty boy.
Unfortunately, when I take music out, I can take the music out, but I can't get the lyrics out. So it still kind of bleeds through. There's parts of this show that are going to be even dead silent because sometimes they forgot to shut these tapes off. So this is Jackknife Jacob against Kid Kelsey, huh?
Well, looks like it.
Yeah. Kelsey's going to be joining us next week, everybody. By the way, I said it earlier, you're going to want to tune in to NWF Forward next week on Friday because it's going to be a big show. We're going to have Ace, Andrew Carlson, and Kid Kelsey joining me along with Ben and Ricky, the old champs, to talk to the future champs. Or, well, one of them anyway.
If I remember correctly, it's the master of the rope break.
Yeah, Ace, the master. You know, it's going to be interesting to talk to Ace because all Ace knows is shoot title matches. He was never a part of the worked matches.
Right.
So for him, it's going to be very, it'll be an interesting conversation to say the least. And these guys, Kelsey and Ace, they're looking forward to talking to the young kids. And Ricky and Ben are both looking forward to meeting those guys. So it'll be a good show. It's going to be very, very interesting. The old meets the new.
Yep.
So that's going to be a week from tomorrow on NWF Forward.
Kelsey.
And you never know. You may see comments come in from Dixie Dave. You may not.
Yeah. All this fighting going on outside the ring, and I can't stay out of the match. I'm warning Peterson to get his rear end out of there. You know, Peterson was afraid of me. He's a big kid, but he knew I had a temper as well. But Peterson was kind of, he knew when to back down for me when I'd get mad at him. I'll say that.
I mean, he'd chicken out.
What's that?
He'd chicken out, huh?
He knew not to push me too far. Let's just say that. And Mike too. Mike would get into it with him as well. Mike Ackerman.
Okay.
Kelsey's trying to bring a chair in.
Kelsey's got the chair. He hits the ref. The ref is down. He's down and up. Oh, pretty boy.
We were very loved. It was just love taps, these chairs. We never got rough with them. Peterson would hit you pretty hard though. He'd swing it pretty good, but the rest of us were pretty.
And Jackknife gets the better piece of it.
We weren't too rough with the chairs. It wasn't like they are today, the way they smack those chairs on each other.
Well, one, they're holding them wrong.
I don't think the ref should have allowed that. To let the chair go to Pretty Boy. Let me have this mic. This little Pretty Boy person. This Pretty Boy person with this little bow
That's
tie.
Madman Nash talking.
It's like Charlie Chaplin, I say. Oh, here he goes. Drake some toss. Looks like some foul play.
Kelsey pretty new yet. He was only on the show. His debut, I think, was the last week's show of this from this show. So Kelsey's still fairly new.
Yep, he's actually selling.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Kelsey now. Sorry for these interruptions here. Business.
You know, you hear the stage and making all that rackety noise. What I used to do, I used to put microphones underneath the stage because we had about 8 mics in the studio that we could use, and I tried to use a bunch of them. And I put microphones under the stage because I thought it was cool to get the sound effects.
Yeah.
But you know, it's almost like it's too much. You know, you get too much noise almost from the stage.
Well, you were trying to go for that effect of hearing people hit the mat.
Right. We'd eventually, I think even right now, you can see the cable going up. We have the mic that'll drop down. You know, sorry, my phone. 8 o'clock always goes off.
Okay.
Just reminding me of my work tomorrow is all it's doing. But anyway, we're about halfway through the show. This is, like I said, this is a little bit longer taping. This one goes about 80 minutes or so. And we always have to jump up to get it. Mike's trying to get the mic. But that Tonga boy, he's tall enough. He can just come in there and grab it.
Okay. The next match.
But yeah, this is they drop the mic down, you know. They try to do it just like we've seen on All-Star Wrestling.
Versus Bruiser Brad. Just wait. Let me introduce the match. The Superfly.
Mike got kind of mad at Kelsey there.
An older cousin of the Tonga boy. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, see, they're cousins.
Brad Hoff, a more experienced.
This is Superfly Rich's debut as well, the guy in the blue.
Superfly is going to win this match. I'm almost sure. Brad Hoff hasn't been around for a while in the TWA. Or TWF, sorry. But I'm almost sure. Hey!
I give him my 2 cents, like Dixie Dave does.
Yeah. Okay, you're suspended from the ring.
The only thing is my 2 cents has value.
For this match,
Yeah, 2 cents. If we could even give it that much value, I don't know.
Put it in your
How do you
mouth.
feel about this match?
Let's see, a comment here from Sky
No
Sports.
comment. Okay. Let's ring the bell.
I can't believe that the stage was able to hold all that weight when everyone was in the ring. Did it ever collapse on you? No, this stage was well constructed. This is like 2x4 framed and everything. It was heavy. Like those, there was 4 sections to it. They hooked together, as you can see the hooks on the side. And it was like each one of those things was really heavy to move around. It was not light. So it was very, very heavy duty. Yeah. Very durable.
Okay. Having taken care of that. Anyways, let's get back to this match. Sorry about that interruption. Very rude interruption. Okay. Okay. Superfly Rich.
My Alexa alarm was going off, so I had to tell her to stop.
Of his career in the TWF. Fighting Bruiser Brad Hoff and his Superfly's cousin.
You know, the thing with the stage is
in his corner.
the ropes, they're just bungee cords instead of actual turnbuckles, so you really can't. It's not a real functioning ring at all. It's just it just looks like it resembles a ring is all it is.
Yep.
Of the jackknife side, all
So in other words, when you get thrown into the ropes, you just barely touch.
Yeah.
That we can't do this.
Not like once we got the real ring where you can lean into the rope.
Yep.
Okay. He was being choked on the rope.
Or, I mean, I guess we could lean into him when we were doing the Fred Morris.
As you can
Right.
see, there's part of the interference of the foursome.
That's
or
true.
The fisome. Whatever. However you would want
Yeah.
to say that. Brett,
I mean,
one of them.
these were fun times, though.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on? The ref should count him out.
We're still having a lot of fun in these days, you know, with the show and
Coming
everything.
back in the ring. Oh, a headbutt! Beautifully executed headbutt. They're still sprawling around the ring. Pressure, trying to be part of this match. Stay merciless. You know, these guys, they got other guys in the corner now.
This is not fair. They're interrupting the match. Look at this. So let's get some authority.
Yeah.
I
Their
don't
whole
know if you're
family,
being
the whole Jacob
disqualified.
family, you can't see it, but they were on that other
Stop
side of the
this
ring.
interruption again. Kelsey, would you be excused from the ring area?
Disqualified for what? We've been sitting there just boys, but sweetheart. They're not little boys.
You are interviewing. Watch out, pretty
Well,
girl.
Matt's upset about something.
Yeah. There is so much. The problem in the Group W cable days was there was so much passion with everybody in what they were doing that they just couldn't contain themselves to just their match.
Okay.
Right.
So that's why you got all them after-match skirmishes and all this stuff going on outside the ring. And
There's 2 minutes left in this match.
this is the kind of stuff I wish I could go back and fine-tune.
Ooh,
You know.
Rich, I don't know. I don't even know what's going on in this match. There's been so much confusion. There you can see Killer Kappa trying
So
to
yeah,
interfere
Wayne's
with the
asking,
match.
are the camera switches being done live? Yeah, all the camera switches being done live.
And his head
And sometimes, like right now, I don't even know if there's anybody on the cameras. It looks like they just have the cameras set because I don't see them moving or nothing. Again, this is the kind of stuff we should always have somebody on a camera. So the fact that we don't have anybody on these cameras
We're just
is,
acting like they do.
you know,
Well, I don't
is
know
not
if I
good.
should agree with that.
Right.
But anyways,
because we have enough people. Usually, like Andy Youngquist, he loved being on camera and stuff. Like he loved doing the technical stuff more than the wrestling. Andy the Ripper,
Yep.
1 minute 10 seconds
Yeah.
left in the match.
he liked being on the crew more than anything. Yeah.
1 minute left in the match.
So Gizmo
This
says,
is right now pretty fair. Oh, he's taking
I
over
like the
rope.
way you shot with 2 camera angles. Did you add the
This
wipes and
this
fades
is
from
a
this
seesaw match,
from
but it
scene to
looks
scene?
like
Yeah,
right
because
now
the
he's in the
control
lead.
room had a switcher, and then that's about the only thing it could do is do all those crazy
Oh, it's
looking,
a foot to the midsection.
you know, lines, or you can make it do all different things, and we'd always have fun playing with that, doing different variations of it.
Kappa interfering there. It could
Otherwise,
be
you could just do cuts if you want to do, or you can actually do fades,
The ref sure
like or
called that for Kappa.
cross dissolves from one to the
That
other.
could've been a pin there. Jackknife Jacob, please leave. You got 5.
I'm gonna file a complaint here. Crusher Crossen sitting here complaining to me that my family can't stand under control. Meanwhile, while his back is turned, his wonderful people are attacking my wrestler.
Excuse me. There was a disqualification.
See what I'm saying, Dave? It's just like chaos. Jacob's
Yep.
complaining about me. I'm complaining about him. Yeah.
One more warning and
It's
you will
utter
be kicked
chaos.
out.
Andy trying to keep things under control. Andy Youngquist, he's reffing.
Oh, there.
Radhoff disqualified, I think I heard.
The ref trying to bring order in. Would Kelsey
You
please
know, that's
leave?
the thing. We all loved our time on camera. We
Yeah.
all loved being in the ring, so
Okay,
it was hard to get everybody out of the ring.
One of the main
Right.
events, the lumberjack match.
So there's that lumberjack match with me and Peterson.
Versus Crusher Crossen.
Of course, the lumberjack match is you get thrown out of the ring, they all throw you right back in.
This is very exciting. Okay, listen. What will be, Pretty Boy and the Crusher will be in the ring. Everybody else will be surrounding the ring. Whenever one tries to escape from the ring or is thrown out, the wrestlers outside the ring pick him up and throw him right back into the ring. And
No referee, we forgot about that.
yes, there's no referee.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy. Oh, by the way, you guys were always asking, when did I first learn the drop kick? When I actually did my first drop kick? This match right here is where it's going to happen. And I was so excited when I pulled it off that I did it again. So I do 2 of them in a row here in this match. So watch for that. And it was not fun, Dave, doing a drop kick and landing on that damn wood platform.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, but that's where I learned it, though. I started, and from that point on, I kept getting it better and better and better, to the point where I was pretty good with it in the end. But this is where I learned it, anyways. Where I where the light bulb went off, like, hey, I can do this, and then I started. I kept doing it
Not before the match.
after this match. Trouble is they let the Eye of the Tiger keep playing through this whole match, so I had to try to edit it out as best I could. But you can still hear the lyrics bleed through every now and then. Because we can't keep that copyrighted music on anymore. Yeah, Brian was always a rough. He was rough. He was he didn't play lightly with us, with any of us. But I learned early on the way you control Brian is if he's rough with you, you get rough back.
Yep.
Same goes for Thandar. Not that you're going to show him up, but there's going to be a sense of respect when you're done.
Right. You know, that was the thing. Thandar and I, he was never really stiff with me. You know, and he'd work with me. But that may have to do with the fact that we've had a long mutual respect ahead of that.
Right. Yeah, the two pants I would wear in these days was either the camouflage pants like I got on right now or the parachute pants. I usually would be one or the other.
Well, you got to have something comfortable on when you're wrestling.
Yeah. You know, Dave, I'm looking at myself back then I was 14 here and not an inch of not an ounce of fat on me in these days. What happened?
You got old.
I guess so. Yep. So this is where the audio on the show has kind of gone away because there was music playing and I had to just get it out.
Yep.
And there was no commentating right now either for some reason because everybody's in the lumberjack match and we had nobody on the mic.
You know, as you get older, Crusher, those cheeseburgers don't melt away as quick.
Yeah. So has anybody been thrown out yet? I haven't noticed. I wish we would have had people on the cameras. It kind of bugs me that we don't have anybody on the cameras. Yeah, then again, there you go. Here I go again, critiquing us 40 years later. But yeah, Brian, this is a non-title match. So it's just a lumberjack match. The belt's not on the line or anything.
Everybody's too busy outside the ring with the feuds, so.
Yeah, Gizmo's saying you have to show Canary Kid this video to show him your very first drop kicks. Yeah, well, they're not the best. They're not the worst, but they're not the best. You'll see them coming up here, Gizmo.
Well, you know, see, Gizmo, the reason Crusher won't show it to Canary is Canary will eat him up about it.
Oh, but Dave, I don't know if he will because Nathan Hoy gave me a lot of cannon fodder to use on the Canary Kid. I've got the Canary Kid's very first promo that he sent in. I've got the Canary Kid's early matches. I've got things I can show of him where he took a clothesline and didn't even get hit. I mean, yeah, I don't know if he wants to go down that road. So I don't know. He and Canary knows I have it because I showed him little bits and pieces of it, and he's like, "I hate." Here's his exact words: "I hate that early stuff. I hate that stuff." He says. Yeah. But yeah, that drop kick, I gotta watch for that so I can point it out. You'll see me do it though. It's not this camera angle; it's the other one where I do the drop kick. See, but look at this, a lumberjack match, and everybody's fighting outside the ring as well.
Well, you know, that's how lumberjack matches win.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, the heels and the faces that go at it outside the ring. And
now watch Peterson. When he gets his hands on the folding chair, I mean, he knocks you with it. I don't know if he gets it in this match or not, but... I love doing that Hogan kick. Oh, there's one drop kick right there. Did you see that? And I'll do it again here. I think I do it a third time even. I did 2 of them there. The tape glitched on us there. But I do another one and I get so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna do this again. That's the early Crusher drop kicks. Look like Canary Kid. I look like Canary Kid there. Yeah. Oh, Ricky. He knows I like him. I just have to needle him. But yeah, primitive drop kicks. They'll get better in time. I'll tell you though, I do a 4th one. Look at that. I just can't stop doing it. I just wanted to keep doing it once I figured out that I kind of got the feel of it.
Yep.
But yeah, landing on that stage, that was not fun. It'd be like doing a drop kick and landing right on the ground. You know?
Yeah, this would be the only quote-unquote ring that would be comparable to Fred Moore.
Yeah. So
Oh, I see somebody with the chair out there.
Oh, Peterson also has me pinned, but where's the ref?
There's no ref in this match, they said.
Well, there has to be one to do the count.
Peterson
Oh, yeah, Peterson did pin me there. I don't know who counted it. Oh, there comes Andy the Ripper. The ref shirt on. And he's trying to control all these kids. Good luck with that.
There's Jackknife. I see Kid Kelsey in there.
Mike's trying to get the mic. There he goes. Yeah, so Peterson wins the match. It was non-title, but it wasn't much of a match. It was other than me doing the drop kick and figuring it out. It's kind of wasn't Peterson and I had a lot of better matches than this. Wasn't our best match. We've had better ones. I don't know. The reason the audio is quiet right now is because the music was playing and I couldn't get it out with the lyrics. But eventually we'll get some audio again. Trivia. Who went to Japan and brought back that PWA belt in show number 4?
Yeah, this is the second time that one came up.
Well, I think the answer is going to come up now. Hear all the chitter chatter going on in the studio. Charlie, Luxury Lane. There you go. Yep, because he wanted the main belt, but I'm like, I didn't want to give it up. So I said, Charlie, why don't we come up with a PWA championship for you?
Now, Peterson, you interfere in this match, and I'll personally put you out of wrestling.
Kelsey was a talker too.
Yeah, I do have to give Matt credit for that. You didn't get the deer in the headlight syndrome.
Wait.
What's that?
I just like to say
That's one thing I got to give Kelsey is he did not get the deer in the headlight
if he loses to this new
syndrome.
wrestler,
No.
I mean, then this new wrestler
No, Kelsey loved to
Hercules or something like
be on the mic and do an interview, and he was good at it.
Why?
Well, what do you think about this match? Who do you personally think is gonna win?
You have to show Canary Kid's first videos, says Sky Sports Video News. He says, but you have to hold it till mid-June. We have events every Thursday through the middle of June.
Totally demolished me. I don't know what Peterson
Yeah.
was doing to that.
Well, remember, Canary Kid and I, we do the show on Fridays. So Canary and I are on Fridays, not Thursdays. So when we do forward, it's a Friday, not a Thursday.
That's your opinion.
Yours too.
So that's the thing. I don't know if you guys are doing events on Friday too, but
Nash throws
Well, I can imagine that Sky Sports crew will be busy this weekend.
yeah.
because we do, you know, if they cover wrestling stuff.
That was a quick match.
This was
Yep.
a fast match.
If
but
they cover wrestling
they had
stuff
one
for
good- some
professional wrestling, they'll have WrestleMania this weekend.
I got interesting story on this kid that got pinned by Madman Nash. That's Jerry Walker. That's Superfly Rich Walker's younger brother. He had the wrestling singlet on.
Yep.
Very interesting with him. I learned, you know what he got into as he got older?
What's that?
Ultimate fighting.
The
Oh.
Street
He's
Fighters
pretty good at it
versus the
at a local level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any comments
Yeah.
from
Isn't that interesting?
Street Fighter.
Yeah, that's me
Um,
and Jeff just picked out that new name because
Who was the first wrestler to capture the belt from Crusher Crossen?
to the Road Warriors. Yeah, sort of. So we had to pick a new name. And I don't know about these.
More
ridiculous
NWF trivia
ones,
for you.
but I don't know.
For TWF
What do
trivia.
you think about these ridiculous ones? The ridiculous ones.
Ridiculous ones. That's what we called Peterson, because it was the fabulous ones. We called our fantastic ones. We called them the ridiculous ones. I don't know if this answer comes up right away or if it comes up.
Match is between,
Yeah, it'll come up on the next one.
this match is tag team match between Merciless.
Notice
Mike
Kelsey's got the
Ashford
shirt nice and tucked in.
Madman Nash. The street.
We're together.
Yeah,
we're
unlike
together.
Crusher when he
We're
ref.
against- We're against the street fighters against the fast ones. Pull up the mic. We
At
gotta
least
start from
Hot
right
Stuff
now.
Kelsey is trying to look professional about it.
See, I told him, pull up the mic. We got to start because as I was working, because we were going to run out of time in the studio. So we had to get the show moving here. Normally our show would be ending right now at 60 minutes, but this one goes another 20 minutes. And then when Tronson yelled at us after a while for doing this, saying, "You got your show 60 minutes. It's got to be 60 minutes. You can't go over." So we had to start being strict with our 60-minute show limits after a while. So it looks like it's Merciless Mike and Madman against Peterson and Campa. Todd Campa, what a character he was too, Killer Campa.
Just
Yep.
Great character for our show in the early days.
mad.
Campa stuck with it all the way through the end of '85, and then me and him got in an argument outside the show, and Campa's thing with me, whenever we got in an argument, he's always be like, his way to get back at me is like, I'm not going to do the show anymore. And he'd done it a couple times with me. I always figured he'd keep coming back, but after that one in '85, he never did come back. But, you know, we're just teenagers. That kind of stuff happens. If you're friends all the time, there's something wrong.
Right.
Yeah, if you always get along.
Well, I think personally.
Well, I mean,
Everybody
I do have to say, my fiance and I have been together now almost 3 years,
Mad Dog there.
and we have yet to have a major argument.
Yeah. Yeah, we got this tag match. We still got Merciless Mike against Jackknife Jacob in his revenge match, which got really heated. That's coming up yet.
Madman is a very mad person. He gets mad when he gets into the ring. He turns into George Animal Steel. This man,
George
along with
Animal
my tag team, myself, me and Merciless Mike, they're gonna win this match. But you know Peterson and his cheapness, he'll get involved sooner or later. And Todd Camp ain't no friendly person himself.
Rich Taylor is our new commentator. He didn't make this show, but he'd be back for the next one.
Next time,
What's that?
come here to
Rich
the
Taylor didn't make this show. He's not here, like our new commentator.
TWF. I
Yeah.
personally wanna
But he'd
take
be
up with
back
you
for the next show, though, as I
Peterson
remember.
and, Jacob,
Sports Video's asking, did either one of you guys really dislike anyone in your organization? Well, it was tough to get along with Brian Peterson. You know, he had that in this day and age, at the age he was at, he was a tough one to get along with, because he brought that arrogance in his character, and that was kind of how he was at the time, because he was still just a teenager. You know, he mellowed out as he got older. Not like that now or anything, but
Right.
But yeah,
But I mean, the only
Peterson.
person that I really ever had beef with, but it was because of stuff away from the show,
The winner.
was Gary Parr, but we've since
Winners of the
settled
match.
that. And
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match. Let me
There were
call the
always
first
little
match in the Madman
annoyances
match.
with
The
guys,
winner.
though. You know,
Okay,
people
I just got word from Stan Black and
people
Ray
will get
Johnson,
annoyed with
unable to
other
attend.
certain
The
people
next
sometimes.
match
That would just
is
always,
between
but it would never be
Merciless Mike.
too.
Everybody has to leave the ring
Too.
except
I mean,
the
for the
ref.
most part, everybody got along.
Merciless Mike against
well, I mean,
Jacob
I'm sure that there's
match.
people
We're gonna
that
get on with that right away.
are annoyed that, you know, the final
Notice how I have
inductee,
to come on top.
the
One of
final official
one match to
inductee
the
into the
other,
Hall of Fame
and this
was
is the
me.
most important match that I've ever made.
Yeah, because there was certain somebody who
Where's the
figured they would have just been anointed the Hall of Fame
Or should we
without
call him
any
a
votes.
Smack Jack? Jealous, I forgot.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
Smack Jack.
that's not how our Hall of Fame works.
No, it's all got to be voted on.
You know,
Okay.
our Hall of Fame is decided by our
Okay.
viewers.
Yeah. This answer's coming up here. I know who it is.
Well, I still have to cool down from this match, but I still think I'm gonna kill him.
No.
At least I think the answer's coming up. Oh, that's the wrong answer. It was Merciless Mike Ackerman,
Yep.
not the Kid
Jackknife
Squad City's
Jacob.
pro wrestling show.
This match is between Jackknife Jacob and Merciless Mike, a revenge match.
So yeah, this is the Mike. Remember a few shows ago, Mike, Jacob injured Mike and put him out of wrestling or whatever with his arm.
Well, I don't care. There's gonna
So
be
this
no
is
ref.
this is Mike's revenge match.
Except for the count.
Mike wanted
course.
Rob to submit,
Unless I
but
make
Rob
him
didn't
submit.
want to do it.
Okay, well,
So
anyways,
this
let's get the
match,
match going.
that's why Mike gets heated, because Rob
Okay,
won't give
now,
up.
I'm getting sick of these dumb revenge matches, Mike. If I'd say if you don't want the same thing to happen to you again, I think you better stop trying to wrestle me for revenge.
I'd say after this match, you won't have any more matches to wrestle.
Ring your bell.
You can already sense a little bit of tension between them.
Yeah, it really was. There was, you can see it. You'll see it. They get really, Mike gets really aggressive in this match, kind of like how he did with Ace in that title
Throw
match.
each other against the ropes. As Mike grabs Jackknife's leg, Jackknife's hopping around. Ooh! Jackknife gives him a karate chop that has little effect on Merciless. And
Just
still
going
running
around in circles.
And we
Trying
don't
to
know
get him
if
to
Mike's
fall
hurt.
down.
Oh,
Yeah.
he takes him down.
I like something.
And he's hammering on his back. And here comes Crusher Crossen in the ringside.
Now, I promise, Merciless, I'll be in his corner.
See
So I can
Campa
sit
and
right here at ringside.
Jerry Walker outside the ring over there, and Andy the
There
Ripper
could be a
in
choke there, but
Jacob's
there's no
corner.
ref, so. No, Mike gives him the pile driver.
But yeah,
But
Rob
Jack
just didn't
Smith
want
won
to.
out of it.
Rob was not
Ooh,
really working good
Jackknife
with
gives
Mike.
him a punch, but with little
And so
effect.
Mike just gets mad. He just gets mad during this match. You'll see him. He'll start manhandling him, just like he did with Ace that time in that title match.
Remember
Yep.
the chair. And he hit Jackknife.
Not hitting him very hard.
Hits Jackknife 3 or 4 times over the head with
And
it.
let's get a little,
And Jackknife's out of it. That's it.
let's get a little bit of a
Tonga boys at ringside.
ring out of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think after this match, I think there's a battle
Jackknife's
royal.
out of it. You can see the
And
pain
then that's
on
it.
his
And the battle
face.
royal is chaotic, from what I remember.
Well, when aren't they?
Yeah.
Superfly Rich is here as the special guest announcer with, and Crusher Crossen rams Rob's head.
So you can
to
see
his
Rob
knee.
is just not
The Tonga
really
boys there too.
working with Mike, and Mike's getting mad.
Yeah, for the people that
They're
can't hear
talking to
the
each
voice,
other
they're
even
doing
about it.
Superfly Rich
And look at
Crusher Crossen
Mike.
again.
Rob won't let him pick him up. He's just
Jackknife, Jacob,
Mike's mad.
Pretty boy.
You'll see. You'll start manhandling him.
He's gonna.
He's trying to pick him up to do his airplane spin, and Rob's just being dead weight.
Oh, Mike is mad.
This is where Mike gets mad.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're mad.
This is
Rob's getting mad at him for.
Crusher Crossen.
And then Brian Peterson at some point makes the mistake to come in the ring when Mike was mad like this, and Mike just pulled off and punched Brian hard.
Head into the
You'll see it
top of
happen here in a
OSD.
minute.
This Rob is out of it.
Yeah, Mike was
I'd like to say one thing
mad.
about Jackknife Jake. I don't think he's going to be wrestling after this match.
Airplane spin by Merciless
He
Mike.
finally
Oh,
this is
he goes
Mike's
back
main
to
move
back
was the
for
airplane
first.
spin, so
No.
he wanted to do that move.
Oh, throws him down. The Crusher Crossen gets in it. I've had this.
Watch out, here comes.
Yeah,
Peterson
Kelsey's
and
the ref
the
just for the
match.
count. See, look at Brian coming in, and Mike didn't want to have any. He just laid into him there. He's like, that's the last thing Mike wanted to see was Brian interfering. So he's trying to make Rob submit, and Rob won't give up.
On the side. And Mike is
He's got like a toe lock on him,
trying to submit to him.
or an ankle lock maybe.
Is he gonna submit or what's gonna happen here, folks?
You know, it's the one thing that we didn't realize at this point in time is you don't work the other match to be a grizzly show.
Yeah. And Rob is just not working with him. It's funny, though, to watch Mike get so mad. Watching Mike lose his temper was kind of funny. That's why I'm laughing.
I wonder if
Outside the ring there.
Jacob's gonna live through this match. As Merciless Mike
Damien
goes
has a
down
question. He
now.
says, how did you handle someone when they are stiff with you? Well, normally you just get stiff back.
Yeah, you give him a receipt.
Yeah. That's what Mike's doing. That's why Mike was getting rough and manhandling Rob at points because he wasn't working with him.
You know, I mean,
Mike,
look,
Now,
when
Rob-
Pretty Boy got
Mike
stiff with me.
wins by submission.
Rob did not submit. Mike just said he submitted because Mike wanted him to submit. So Mike said he submitted. Rob didn't submit though.
Okay, Mike. We're not leaving. Nobody's leaving. Everybody's coming to the ring for the back.
Merciless Mike. I knew he could do it all
You
the
know,
time.
for me, it was in case somebody wanted to get stiff with me. I just proved to him that I was tough enough to take it.
Me and Superfly Rich are tagging up next show
Yeah.
to go against the ridiculous ones. Peterson and the jealous
Ridiculous
Jacob. The
ones.
Weasel. No, this is a battle royal. And there's also
So, yeah, this is gonna be a
6-man
battle
tag on the
royal.
card. I just got notified.
Well, you must have had an earpiece in your ear to be notified of this stuff.
He just got notified. Yeah. Yeah, an earpiece back when they didn't have earpieces. Yeah, this battle royal is just out of control. I don't know if it's an over the top rope battle royal. It might be. You can see Mike using Fritz kind of as just picks him up and lets him keep kicking everybody.
Yep.
Battle Royal. That's right. 12. I'm commentating here on the match. This is Ray Johnson again. And, well, it looks like there's a big brawl out here. Crusher
And I'm doing it with
Crossen taking
Superfly
him
Rich.
His name's Rich, I believe. And kicking him to just a mess. Hard to explain. And, I guess at this time we want to go through a few of our credits here that give us help. We want to
Yeah, it's funny. Jerry Walker, that kid in the wrestling singlet, he actually went into Ultimate Fighting as he got in his 20s.
Huh.
Yeah. I learned that when I was researching him on Facebook back when I remembered where, I don't know where his account is now, but he had an account on Facebook. And he used to talk about that a lot on there.
Look at this now. I don't know if anybody's been thrown out
But Jerry, he only came for a few shows,
Right.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
he
that's
never
right.
really
Killer Kappa was
showed up
just
again.
thrown out by the incredible freshman Crossen. Killer Kappa's
They were big time wrestling fans, though, him and Rich.
Yep.
the volume got noticed.
Well, we all were back then.
Oh.
Ow. Pardon me, the microphone's giving me a
Back in these days, you were either a wrestling fan or a boxing fan.
Okay,
Yeah, and you know, like in this time, 1984, we were definitely watching AWA, WWF,
Peterson.
Yep.
NWA. Look at Brian; he's not happy. He's going out, and he's not happy. You can see it on his face.
Of the Battle Royal, I don't
Everybody ganged up on Peterson to get him out.
Can you see it? Peterson was just thrown over the top rope.
And when we would do a battle royal like this, the only thing we'd really talk about is who's gonna win it. Other than that, everything else just happened as it happened.
The only people left is Furious Fritz, Mr. Crossen, Merciless Ackerman, I believe his name's Superfly Rich.
I don't even know who
and,
wins
there
this
goes
battle
somebody,
royal.
I don't know quite who it was. Furious Fritz is out now. And of course that Tonga boy.
Is that drop kick again?
And Kid Kelsey. Okay, the wrestlers are discussing how they're gonna get. And Kid Kelsey, the wonderful Superfly Rich. Oh, and we didn't notice, but Buster.
I'm still not familiar with the names because those kids just joined at the time, so
And okay, well, we're gonna continue. As
I'm still not got their names down right.
we have
Right.
We are running short on time. We are 74 minutes into this production. But meanwhile, a headbutt to Kid Kelsey. He's down by the Tonga boy, which is the one in the green. Merciless Ackerman taking Kid
Safest
Kelsey.
place to be in over the top rope battle royal as far as getting eliminated.
What's that?
Oh, Kelsey was in the safest place he could be if it's an over the top rope battle royal.
Well, I'm seeing everybody's been going over the top rope. I mean, whether they're picked up and put out or however, but
Left in the ring here, as you can see, Kid Kelsey, Buster Brad down on the floor. Oh, and also we didn't mention Matt.
our battle royals in the garage studio are better than these.
Tangled up in the rope.
Look at, I'm almost out.
He's, gonna go out.
Look at Mike, stay in, Mike's telling me to stay in. Then Mike pushes me out.
Bye-bye.
He pushed me out, Dave. He did kind of like, stay in, then he pushes me out. Yeah, that's nice of my tag team partner.
Yep.
But he's out. And what's this?
Yeah.
The Tonga boys helping Mike up. And they're going after who's next in line. None other than
God, I wonder who wins this. I can't remember.
which is in the blue.
But we're almost to the end of this thing.
That's
We only got
in the blue shirt. And now,
just a few minutes left, so it's going to end fairly quick.
is that Kid Kelsey? Yeah, it is.
Getting down less and less now, though. There's Kelsey, Merciless, the Tonga boy.
He's just kind of laying out. I don't
Kelsey went out, but he didn't go over the top.
know. Could it
Right.
be?
Then again, maybe you don't have to go over the top.
Oh, Kid Kelsey was just picked up and over the top rope by the Tonga boy in the green. That's the
Well, he said it was over the top, but it
Tonga boy
wasn't.
clean up Man Nash. But and he gave a kick right to the wonderful
Yeah, that Tonga boy, he was a tall kid.
and Superfly.
I'm surprised he didn't get eliminated already.
Throwing him against the rope.
Yeah.
Oh, a double headbutt.
Now these guys are cousins, so they're working together.
Ackerman was just thrown out. I'm not quite sure by who, but he is out. It appears he's looking around outside off the cameras here. Must have heard us. Look at the scene crushing across the ring.
Oh, Tonga boy chased Superfly Rich out, and he jumped over the top rope when he did it.
Just went out because he stepped over the top rope. The Tonga boy was chasing Madman Nash, but got thrown over.
They chased Madman.
Right over the top rope. Rich is the winner of the battle disqualified himself in the battle royal. He's won the match.
I got some same Superfly Rich.
Yeah, the old Andre the Giant chasing Heenan out of the Battle Royal. That's where we stole that idea from.
Yep.
Come on in.
He's one of the greatest.
He's the one with the mic right now. That's the wonderful Superfly Rich. He has won the match. And like again, we have another battle outside.
Well, here we go again. Out of control chaos.
Jackknife Jacob. What's he doing in there? mysteriously, he was not in the battle royal. We don't know why. But be sure to watch.
Yeah, Jacob wasn't in the battle royal.
We'll have him for our interview, and we'll sure find out. Be sure of that. Well,
Yeah, this is just
As when he's trying to climb the ropes, he must have scolded after him.
this is just complete chaos, out of control.
Well, that's the NWF show when there was a battle royal.
And we got another fat bro. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to call the security.
I wish the Tonga Boy would have stuck with it. I think he could have done a lot of stuff with him.
Yeah.
We might have to call security. It looks like they're all.
Only problem.
What's that?
Well, folks,
Only problem with the Tonga kid, he does
time
not
for
look.
more matches, so stay tuned for show
Look,
Just the other
29
show.
coming up soon. And you don't
doesn't
wanna
have what?
miss that show because that will
He doesn't
be
look
another
Polynesian.
great show. Maybe
No.
even better than this one.
We'd have to give him a
Not
different
see
name, I
anything
think.
Better action
but-
than the Kids Twin Cities Pro Wrestling Show. So tune in next time for more great TWA wrestling action. See you later.
So yeah, that was the end of the show. Another Group W cable show in the books. Oh, we always used to say good night. That was we always used to say that in these early shows when we were done because we are always on in prime time during the week. Kids Twin Cities Professional Wrestling, that's what we called it.
You know, you've already talked about what we have coming up for.
Yeah, I'm going to go over
Forward.
what's coming up on these future shows so everybody knows.
You know, we know what's coming up forward next week. What's coming up with Heaton?
Yeah, I'll go over that in a minute once this ends.
Because I know what's coming up in 2 weeks.
There we go. Yeah, so let's just talk quickly about that. Again, I want to remind everybody, a week from tomorrow, at a special time, of course, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. over there in UK, we're going to have Kid Kelsey and Ace Andrew Carlson, two of the four of us that held that NWF belt, of course, me, to talk to Ben Nelson and the Canary Kid on their upcoming title match for the NWF Championship. This will be a great, great show. I'm going to really look forward to seeing Ace again and Kelsey. You know, Kelsey and I have a huge history on the show, and so does, you know, Ace and I as well. You know, these guys were a big part of the show, and they were the first to hold this blue belt, you know. So it'll be a great conversation. And Ace is always a good conversation. You know, like when he was on with us, Dave, it was fun to talk with him and Kelsey as well. And it'll be very interesting to see what these guys say to the young whippersnappers here with the Canary Kid and Ben Nelson. I mean, Kelsey, he still thinks he's the champ, right?
Well, you know, it says Kid Kelsey up there, but I wonder, are we going to get Kid USA Kelsey or are we going to get Hot Stuff Kelsey?
Well, Hot Stuff Kelsey's the one he liked the most. But Kid USA was probably the one everybody thinks of.
You know.
But yeah, should be an interesting show. That's going to be fun to have to have all of us together, and you know, we're just going to talk to these young guys and forward, and it should be a great show. So if you guys can tune in for that, that'll be really good. If you have any questions for Ace or Kelsey as well, you know, they would be happy to take your questions. Now, what is coming up on Kayfabe with Keaton a week from, or actually it's this coming Sunday. It's this Sunday coming up.
All right.
It's Autism Week, and he's got Tank the Beast Parker. We had him on a forward show. He's from Pure Pro Wrestling. It's going to be Tank. Big kid.
Alrighty.
And Tank is autistic, so it's like that's why Keaton wanted to have him come on. And Tank's he's a great guy. It's going to be a great interview. I'm really looking forward to this. And, you know, he started out young in Pure Pro with the junior training, and he's got a really good future going for himself. So this should be a great interview. I'm looking forward to this one with Keaton on Sunday, April 20th, which is this coming. Well, he says Saturday, April 20th. I wonder if it's Saturday or Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's Sunday. It's scheduled on our channel. Let me take a look here quick, because I want to make sure we got that right. April 20th.
19th.
Yeah, and it's scheduled for the 20th on Sunday, so that's just a typo.
All right.
Yeah, so it's not Saturday. It's going to be Sunday, the 20th. So don't. Saturday's just got that in there because when he had his guest last week, she had to go Saturday. So he just forgot to change Saturday to Sunday. So it will be Sunday, the 20th. So that'll be a great interview, and its times are going to be at 1400. That's military time. That's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern. Or 12 p.m. Pacific. And then 2 p.m. I think it should be 3 p.m. Eastern. He's got these dates all screwed up in times, but
Well, anybody who's tuned into his channel will get a notification when he goes live.
right, it'll go live. But I'm pretty sure I know it's going to be for me. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So yeah, or maybe it's noon. I think it's noon Mountain for me because we're 7 hours apart. I know he's going 7 p.m. Ireland time. So yeah, you gotta get their times straightened out on that graphic though. And then Dave, the next time we're live in 2 weeks, we're going to be live, in May? So what does that mean? That means we're going to watch part 1 of Superstar Spectacular 86, the very first Armory card we ever did. That's what we're going to be going to.
Exactly.
And see the first half of this show anyway.
Dave.
Well, Dave's there. He's in the audience. He's over there in that row on the back side of the ring over there on the left there. He's in the... In fact, you can see Dave's face right above that person. Yeah, Dave's in the audience on this one. I remember I asked Dave, I said, Dave, when you seen this show, what was going through your mind in the crowd? And what did you say, Dave?
I want to be a part of it.
I was trying to figure out how can I be a part of this? Yep.
And now I'm a Hall of Famer for it.
Yep. 350 fans roughly showed up for this. We didn't know what we were going to get. We certainly didn't expect that many. We were pretty excited when we got that many people. Our wrestling was still not... We weren't we were polished, but we weren't polished. I mean, we were not... We were ready enough to do a live show, but we certainly got a lot better after time went on from this event.
Right.
I guess we can just say that. But it was a great show. And then we're going to see this one in the restored, first time being restored. So that's what we're going to watch May 1st. So that'll be fun. And I want to remind everybody, coming June 1st, it's going to be the Canary Kid against Ben Nelson, hopefully, as part of their best of 3 series, unless one of these two sweep it. But because they have a match coming up Saturday, their first one. And Canary's pretty fired up. He wants to win this belt. Ben wants to win it as well. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen in this one, guys. But these two are fired up. They want that belt. I will say that.
You know, I just hope you don't go over there just to present the title.
Well, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that could be the case. But if in the event they both win one of the matches, then they'll have to it'll be finalized on June 1st, but we just don't know. So we're going to have to see what happens. I know this much. I don't know, you know, let's just say Canary, if Canary Kid wins Saturday coming up here, he's going to be all mouth next week. He's going to be talking, you're looking at the next NWF champion. He's going to think he's going to sweep the whole thing. God, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he doesn't win that first match because I don't want to hear it. He is like, his mouth goes like a duck's rear end in water, Canary Kid. He just doesn't know how to shut his mouth. He just keeps yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping. Dave, I'm getting me all fired up here.
He's a good talker. You know, he's doing his job properly. He's getting you fired up.
But yeah, it should be a good match. I'm looking forward to it. Canary did a really good promo. We had it at the beginning of the show. Guys can watch it and rerun, but and replay or whatever. But you'll see his promo he did. He's did a little promo for their upcoming first match. They're doing a best of 3 series now. So the next one, match number 2, is going to be the next Malone Rugby Club show. So it's going to be in May 4th. Will be their second match.
Right.
And, we'll see what happens. And then June 1st, it's either going to be the main title match, or it's going to be to decide it all, or it's going to be me presenting the belt to one of these two, depending on how it goes. So,
and that week you'll be doing a live forward with both of them instead of doing a rewind.
Yeah, and that Friday before the match on June 1st, it's going to be a special NWF forward that week on Friday, live with the Canary from the dojo, from the ring in their training ring in the dojo, with the Canary Kid and Ben Nelson, with the NWF belt on presentation. And they're going to be talking about, it's going to be a heated conversation. With these two are really getting edgy with each other. So we'll see how it goes. It should be a great match. Looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good show. And by the way, guys, the tickets haven't even went on sale for this June 1st show. So it's not too late to make a trip out to Ireland if you ever want to go on a nice little vacation and see this one. Be pretty cool to see. And yours truly, as you see, special guest referee, Crossen, laying the hammer down, not taking any crap from Canary Kid if he gets out of line. Basically what I'm saying, Dave, he shoves me, I'm shoving him back. I'm the ref. You don't mess with the ref.
Well, technically, if you wanted to screw him over, he shoves you, you could disqualify him, and that would automatically award Ben the title.
Well, Canary Kid better be on his best behavior. I'll just say that. Him and that Irish temper. I've told Ricky if he can just keep his cool, he might have a chance.
Well, we'll see what happens June 1st, if it goes that long.
Yeah, if it goes that long, we'll see. All right, guys, that was a long show. I know Dave's ready. Got a lot going on, and so do I. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I know Sky Sports and Gizmo and you guys, I imagine we won't be seeing you on Thursdays all the time now because you said you're going to be busy all the way through mid-June. But I see you made it in tonight. But, if you guys can make it for next Friday, though, that'll be a good one because you could be able to talk to Ace and Kelsey, which is you don't always get to talk to. So,
yep. I mean, you always have to put up with the 5-time loser, but, you get these other faces in to talk to.
And the other loser, Dixie Dave, and the other loser, Canary Kid, the chicken kid, remember? He's afraid. He's the cowardly kid. Every time I mention Canary versus Crusher, he gets quiet. He gets silent. He doesn't know what to say.
Well, like I said,
kid's afraid.
His whole thing is he doesn't want to, I don't know how the laws are over there in Ireland. But, he doesn't want to get arrested for abusing a senior citizen.
Or does he not want to get embarrassed losing in front of his own fans against the real champ?
Now you're starting to sound like Kelsey. I mean, you lost the title to Kelsey. Fair and square, you lost the title to Kelsey. Kelsey was stripped of it, so both of you have no claim to that title anymore.
Commissioner Dave is speaking, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I'm just stating facts. I never claimed to be the commissioner. You look back at it. Fair and square, you dropped the title to Kelsey.
Yeah.
Then Kelsey failed to appear for a show. He forfeited the title.
Sky Sports has a question before you sign off, and it's a good one. Do you have anything on your website that tells what shows are coming up? No, and that's something I need to do. I need to get on the website and kind of polish that up. I could provide that. I know what shows we're going to have scheduled for Rewind. Like, I could do that. I should probably do that. That's not a bad idea. Forward, we don't always know what we're doing. One of the guests we're going to have coming up on Forward, Dave, in a few, not this one coming up, obviously, but I think maybe the next one is going to be one. I forget her name, but she's a gear maker. She makes gear and for wrestlers. And I thought we'd have her come on. She asked if she could come on and talk about wrestling gear for the guys that are starting out, like Ricky and Ben and all those guys. You know, she's a gear
you
maker.
know what I told you earlier?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what you should tell her.
Yeah. I mean, she does really nice work. I've seen some of her stuff and almost show some pictures of some of the things she's done and makes for the guys. And yeah, I just thought that'd be kind of, a little different, just something different. Somebody that works for the indies, the indie pros, for all the wrestlers and stuff. Somebody's available to, because these guys that are starting the indie business, they need that kind of stuff. They need to know where they can go to get stuff like that made.
Right.
So that's kind of good. So
I mean, when we first got going, we didn't know where to go to get gear.
Right. So I got to get that date worked out as far as when she's going to come on, but I'm looking forward to it, to have her come on and talk. Yeah, 'cause she asked me and I'm saying, yeah, why not? Sure, we can do that. And that goes for everybody else in indie wrestling. If anybody's out there that's starting out in the business and wants to come on the Forward show, we're always looking for guests. So
yeah, you don't have me there, so you got to have something to fill the air. Canary can't carry the show on his own.
One of these days we should have Dixie Dave come on as a guest on Forward. I'm sure you'd love that.
It'd be a high-rated show because it'd have Canary and myself on there.
Yeah, and you guys see, I've got to double team Ricky with Ben and stuff, but Canary he would love this if you were on there, because then he can double team with you against me, and he would love every minute of it. The kid makes me want to puke.
Canary kid. I can't help it. He's a fan of Dixie Dave. Greatness recognizes greatness.
Well, Kelsey would say he's the greatest, and Kelsey'd say, you know what Kelsey's going to tell these kids? He's going to say, why are you two fighting for my belt? Is what Kelsey's going to say.
Well, and you just have to lay down what I just said, Kelsey failed to appear for his match.
And what happens when you fail to appear?
You get stripped of your title.
Yep.
You forfeit your title.
The reality of it was Kelsey's dad didn't want him to keep wrestling with the big guys because he's afraid Kelsey would get hurt. This wasn't kids wrestling anymore. That was the reality of it. I'm sure Matt will talk about it. But we were evolving. The NWF was evolving. We weren't a kids wrestling league anymore at that point.
No,
we still had junior wrestlers and stuff, but we just weren't all kids like we were in the beginning.
So, but we've been rambling on for, almost 2 hours.
Yep.
So we should let the Sky Sports crew get on with their evening. I'm sure that they're gearing up for a big weekend if they're covering WrestleMania.
Well, I don't know if they cover that stuff so much. They cover more like real regular sports, high school stuff.
Well, it's a busy time of year for them then.
Yeah, busy. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. And Dave and I will be back in 2 weeks. I'll be on Sunday, hopefully. I never know until the day before with my line of work. But if I can join Keaton, I definitely will. And Tank will be his guest. And, of course, a week from Friday, a week from tomorrow, guys. Don't miss it. Ace and Kid Kelsey joining in to talk to Ben and Ricky. Should be a great conversation. That's going to be just a great conversation. I'm looking forward to it. So, all right. Dave and I will be back in 2 weeks with Superstar Spectacular 86 at Anoka Armory. All right.
Yep.
See you next time live, guys.